So here we are headed up into the north end of Kelly Basin, and my very kind newly found friends Lauren and Chris are giving me a ride in the dinghy because with my broken oars it's a little bit of a stressful time if I use my dinghy any distance. Anyway, a little bit overcast but quite relatively warm, and we're heading to Pillinger, East Pillinger that way, and Pillinger that way, completely overgrown. They were the second town after Strawn, but they only lasted about 10 years. They got abandoned. Yeah, we actually have some black swans here. So we're coming into the East Pillinger jetty, quite a nice one, put up by the Tasmanian Parks people. And then we'll do the walk from there. So here's the start of the track into East Pillinger, and all the remains of the old town very much overgrown now. The Tasmanian Parks people have put up some really useful signs explaining what we're looking at. A bit of the old railway track here. We're heading down to the jetty. There used to be 3 very large brick kilns for making bricks for the town and to send away. And there's the remains of the old jetty. It used to go a long way out into deeper water so they could bring stuff into the town. There's Narida in the distance. A lot of moss on the track. The second of 3 big brick kilns used to make the bricks for building the town. Big structures. There were also lots of reminders of the trains that used to run, the steam trains that used to run to here. We're standing by the 3rd kiln. There's quite a big rock face nearby, a vertical. But the trees, the growth, the jungle has taken everything over. Lovely sound of water, and a lot of trees are falling down there. There's so many old ferns, tree ferns, so many big ones. Here's the river alongside the track. Lovely sound of burbling water. Really quite a big waterfall over there in the Bird River. This must get really furious when it's really rainy, but now it's in the dry season. Well, here we are, still quite a way up above the river, and some other people coming down the other way said that we were only halfway still. So I've decided that rather than slow down Laura and Steve, let them go forging ahead so they can get to the end and come back, and I will slowly retrace my steps. I mean, it's a 7k walk each way, and we've come presumably 3.5k. So interesting walk anyway. Very clear here to see that we're on the old railway track. Quite steep-sided walls here. And that used to be the railway track from Pillinger. At this point, a group of youngsters came along and said to me that no, the rest of the track, they'd just come from the car park, and the rest of the track was only about a half an hour of easy walking. And so I decided, oh, well, in that case, I'm going to keep going. We just came through a very, very modern bit, but here's the river, the Bird River. There were several very, very wet and muddy places where my boats got thoroughly covered. I heard the bird calling and just had to stop to listen. On we go. This is an easy bit, but there are some really, really, really muddy bits, but not too many. Well, that's interesting. We've come to a gate, presumably to stop cars coming this way, vehicles. Well, actually, the note here says, bridge unsafe, keep off. And the trail does a diversion. Off to the left here. So down we go. So there we go, we made it to the end. I was going to give up, but hearing that it wasn't too far to go, I kept on coming, and yes, it was not too bad at all, apart from those very muddy patches. So, Bird River, the railway track. It's always good to get to the end of a track, and the information that the people gave us that we still had half the way to go was clearly wrong. Lots of different fungi seen on the way, quite fascinating to see them all. In places there was clear sight of the gravel that was used for the railway embankment to raise it up for the railway lines to have a good support. Before returning to our boats at the other end of Kelly Basin, we went over to the Pillinger old jetty to see the remains of that. Quite impressive, quite dramatic. And then it was back to our boats after an excellent 3.5 hour trek along the old railway track and the Bird River.